love Mario Kart, but when it comes to my childhood Mario Karts, one of them went on to create the greatest legacy in all of Mario Kart, with fans to this day wishing that two-person kart racing would make a comeback. The other Mario Kart of my childhood was Super Circuit. I've seen people slanderously call this game Mario Kart 64 GBA, which I take massive offense to, alright? Because unlike 64, this game at least has a few interesting tracks. Let's review these in the best way I know how, and that is with a tier list or two. I have one for the racetracks, and one, as always, for the soundtrack. So without further ado, let's start with the first track in the game, recorded by me, so please be nice, Peach Circuit. Wow, Luigi didn't get the rights to this one. How very shocking. It is a circuit track, but I do like the fact that considering the controls are really slippery, this turn at the beginning and a couple of turns later down the line, unless you start learning how to drift, you're going to end up taking turns really, really wide. It doesn't punish you in this stage because it has a wide breadth. It does kind of sow the seeds of you having to learn, okay, this is a serious Mario Kart, okay, you're going to have to learn how to drift, and you're going to have to learn how to drift soon. But not now, you'll be fine. That's really all I have to say about this, of course. Other than that, they do have the legendary, guys, say it with me, the legendary section, which is called the patterned tiles. You see that game as the patterned tiles? I was a big fan of these in the DS, and I'm a bigger fan of this now. You already know I'm going to put this, the music. For the music, we'll be using Church of Condo's remastered version, because it sounds... If we're going to review the lovely soundtrack, we're going to review it all its uncompressed glory. So let's start with Peach, the circuit theme. You like the way Mario's looking at you there? Do you like the way he's looking at you, Finley? He's looking at you specifically. He's looking at you. He's looking at just you. Oh, you love that slap bass, don't you, chat? You love that slap bass, don't you? That slap bass is... It's such that bass line really keeps it going, honestly. I love it so much. And of course, the composer had his kid come into work that day, so he told him, just keep hitting the drum a bit on this part, okay? You ready, son? And the bass man comes in seamlessly. As far as circuit themes go, it is one hell of a bot. That slap bass just goes hard, and there's a genuine good shout for people in the chat saying the Mario Kart 8 version's better. I think when you hear this one in its uncompressed glory, and you hear that slap bass, it's so good. I'm just stepping over my words. I'm gonna put it in here. It goes hard. Feel free to screenshot. Let's move on to the next track now. Okay, chat, I need you to promise me something, okay? I'm ending the whole video unless you guys promise me, okay? This is my childhood Mario Kart, so you have to be nice. You have to be You guys are already being mean. You guys are already being mean. This is my childhood. I shit all over your childhoods. You can't shit on mine. I stuck up for this one in Mario Kart Wii, and I stand by that. My main reasoning for standing up for this in the Mario Kart Wii rendition was I think the cannonballs were a slow but deadly threat, and I really like that dynamic when it comes to hazards. Like, you're either quick but not really that deadly, or slow but really deadly, and I think the Shy Guy Beach rendition and Wii had that, whereas in this one, the cannonballs don't really make up much of a threat at all. They're just kind of there. If the one thing I could use to, like, make this track sound good is gone, then, you know what, I have to join the slander train. I'm sorry to do this to you, little one. Rather play this than the last track, but still meh. I don't think I've ever got hit by a cannonball. Might as well. Yeah, see, that's the issue. Even when I was playing as a kid, and I played it even now, I never got hit by a cannonball. It's just not a threat in the slightest. Peach Circuit gets away with being bland, because it's the first track in the game it's supposed to, but every other track doesn't get that same excuse. And Shy Guy Beach, I'm sorry, man. You gotta go in D. But what about that music? About maybe I'm just really nice to beach music, because I said the same thing about Koopa Troopa Beach in N64, and I want to say the same thing here. It might just sound like beach music, and I fully understand if you're just gonna put in beach music tier, but fuck, man, there's just something about beach music, man. And then this part here. I'll leave it in B. I think B is a fair shout. I don't think it doesn't have the same thing that slap bass has in Beach Circuit, the circuit theme, but I just like beach music, okay? I just like beach music. Leave me alone. Leave me alone. Stop staring at me. We go from the beach episode to Riverside Park. Of course, it got an absolutely phenomenal rendition in the BCP in its base game. I really wanted the boost start, okay? Leave me alone. There we go. But its base rendition, I'm just hoping someone in the chat can convince me, because I never rated this as a kid and I don't rate this now. There's some interesting shortcuts. It's quite interesting. You see, now that you guys mentioned interesting shortcuts, this is an interesting shortcut I've never used. This shortcut here, there's like a little bridge that comes up. I don't know, the GBA pixelation might make it hard to see, but there's a bridge coming up here. I've never known how to use this bridge as a shortcut. I've never used it as a kid, and I'm trying to watch me trying to learn it now. So I'm like, okay, obviously I need a mushroom. Let me try again. Okay, the bridge is obviously broken, Musty. Okay, let's go back and try and finagle an item. Can we get a mushroom? No, that's a red shot. We need okay, let's go back, Musty. Let's try and get a mushroom, please. That's a banana, it's not a mushroom. Okay, let's go back again. A bit further back than I would have liked, but come on, let's try again, Musty. Let's try again. That's a green shell. That's not, you gotta go back. So we're gonna try to just jump over anyway. Didn't work. Okay, we gotta finagle our way back, Musty. We gotta finagle our way. Come on, all the way, all the way. We still don't have a mushroom. What are you doing? Okay, I'm just trying to slip by and it's not working. Still trying to slip by again. I'm trying to like thread that gap by the looks of it, but I don't think it's really working out that well, is it? Let's go back some more. Let's try and get an item again. Let's try and get an item again, Musty. Let's try and get an, I'm just gonna skip it. I'm just gonna I gave up. Because I'm like, what the fuck is that shortcut? There is another interesting shortcut with a water bridge. I don't think I used it, but it does have a couple of interesting shortcuts, none of which evidently I can use properly, but it does have them nonetheless. Alright, I do want it to be known. Riverside Park, it always just seemed like kind of It's not bad. It does have a couple of interesting turns, and having just a couple of interesting turns for a mushroom cup track, it's probably enough not to put you in D or F. It's not offensive, but I can't put it anywhere higher than C. I just can't put it anywhere higher than it, to be honest. But then we get on to the more interesting part about this track. What about the music? What is that melody? Quicker time, quicker time. And then when the bass kicks in, it's not the same as the trumpets and the BCP, but when the bass kicks in here, it's nice, it's nice. It is really, really nice. The only problem you probably have with this track is that it does take a little too long to get going, which is a valid criticism, but when you finally does come to, it sounds really, really good. Honestly. Has it got enough to be an S? We'll save that when we talk about the cooler Daniel. But Riverside can stay in A. I love that Super Circuit went for jazziness. It sounds so nice, doesn't it? Another instance where I'm like, why am I not listening to the 8DX version? I get that, but it might be my nostalgia. But the thing about Super Circuit, what I like, and we'll talk about this when we talk about other tracks, is that the original versions are so good, I can see them sitting alongside each other. I don't think there's a single track in this game that has the Shroom Ridge problem, where I listen to Shroom Ridge in the DS, I'm like, I'd rather be listening to the BCP version. I think it's like, I could listen to either or depending on my mood. But then again, that could be nostalgia. Finley desperately fighting for his life. You might need to pay off other streamers, but you can't pay me off, okay? Alright? So then we get to the first of 4 Bowser's Castles. What do we think about Bowser Castle 1, guys? What do you think about Bowser Castle 1? Considering how short it is, it does do enough. I'll give it that. Come on, Musty, where'd you get a license, mate? It is on the short side. I would have liked if this was a little bit longer, but for a first of 4 Bowser Castles, I don't think being short is the biggest crime. I was a bit skeptical when this got remade for 7, but I think 7 did a decent job with this. But in this game, it's like, if you were to play any Bowser... Oh, is that red shell gonna get me? I jumped over the lava. But when you're like playing, when you're thinking of the Bowser Castle in this game, you're not playing 1. Maybe you're playing 2. You might be playing 3. You might be playing 4. But you're not really playing 1, are you? It does its job of being the basic Bowser Castle, and that's really it. So I think I'll give it a tier that reflects exactly that, which is no strong feelings. The tracks aren't really showing off too well, but the music so far has definitely impressed. Is Bowser Castle going to join that elite? Let's have a listen. As I've always said, I've said this when I talked about Bowser Castle 3 in Wii. I said this when I talked about Bowser Castle 2 in DS. And I said this when I talked about Bowser Castle 1 in 3DS. Bowser Castle GBA lives and dies of whether I can hear that sexy electric guitar. And the original does not disappoint. And it just keeps going. That guitar just sounds far too heavenly. Do we even need the game just release an album at this rate? Honestly, so far anyway, Kevin has got a very good point. God, this is so good. Seymour, the house is on fire. No, mother, it's just Bowser Castle GBA. Let's keep it stepping with the next track. Once you get out of the Mushroom Cup, Meckrio Circuit. Gonna be completely honest, guys. Completely forgot this was a stage until it got remade in 8. It's Meckrio Circuit. I don't have to talk about the music because it still uses the circuit track. But let's quickly move on, shall we? To the next track in the game, which is Booooooo Lake. In this rendition, you don't in fact see the lake, which the BCP did in fact fix that. Well done, Nintendo. Doesn't it look a lot scary? Doesn't it look so much scarier not knowing that there's water down there? Like, you don't know how high up on this boardwalk you are. Don't you just feel like that's very scary, guys? Don't you feel scared? Don't you just feel like you're going loco? That you just don't know what's down there. Could be anything. Could just poke his head out right now. Okay, let's keep going. A lot of invisible bridges on this. A lot of like invisible bridge shortcuts. Barely see it as well. Like it flashes every now and again, so you know they're there. But obviously, I'm an elite video gamer, so I know where all the bridges are all of the time, including the ones that make you say the N-word. You can go around like an idiot over there, or you can, yeah, Musty, see? Musty knows, he knew I was gonna talk about this. Or you can take the bridge and skip that turn entirely. Pog gaming. I don't really think much about Booooooo Lake, to be honest. I don't think about it. I'm glad it got remade for the BCP, but in its original rendition, I just don't think about it. Yet another C, if I'm being honest. I guess it's a bit more interesting because it's got invisible bridges, but do we think a lot about the music though? Melody! If my constant Doppler effecting was anything to go by, it certainly does a good job of feeling like it's a ghost track, right? But just feeling like a ghost track isn't enough to get high on my books. So I think we're in for our first disappointment, I would say, relatively speaking. Booooooo Lake just doesn't really evoke too much emotions, but can the same be said for the next track in the game? You know it, you love it, you hate its remake for some goddamn reason. Cheeeese Laaaaaand! Now, of course, the one thing that people constantly, like, it's like I can't sleep at night, guys, because constantly, every single time I wake up, someone's like, but Musty, the new version, the sky it's daytime. The old version, it's like a night starry sky. Musty, they ruined the new one. Shut up, okay? I get it. The sky looks nice. All right, the sky looks nice. I get it. Shut up, voices in my head. Give me a boost star, okay? Give me a boost star. I don't want to start without a boost. Thank you. I think it's a very, very fun stage to play in this game. One thing you learn as well, I make this look easy because I'm fucking amazing at Super Circuit. So there's these sections where you do like on the mini, you see this on the mini, you do like a circular drift, right? In Mario Kart Super Circuit, if you just turn without drifting, you end up spinning out. It's a quirk of like Mario Kart Super Circuit. By mid-Flower Cup, the game expects you to at least start to get the hang of drifting. So I quite like that it tests your ability to do so. Not just once, but twice in a row here. And then it goes, and then you have to go back around again. And of course, you get to probably one of those fun hazards. Plugmeister was upset. He was shaking. He's so angry. Mice, where? Show the mice. This guy just recently watched Ratatouille. Like, he's a big mouse fan. The mice that walk around the track are a very, very fun gimmick, honestly. I think this is the thing people should whinge about when they talk about Cheeeese Land. Okay, I'll be honest. The cheese does look more like cheese here. I'm not going to pretend, but it still looks like cheese in 8 Deluxe. Okay, shut up. Also, do you like how I did the thing there? Do you like how I did the thing? Do you guys want to see that again? It's very nice, isn't it? I got hit by one of the mice, but if you break when you get hit by something, you end up avoiding any damage. It's a really cool and fun gimmick, isn't it? Haha! I'm a genius! I'm a master at this game. The stage doesn't do anything like too amazing or spectacular, but I feel like for a Flower Cup track, they make the turns interesting enough. There's a consistent gimmick with the mice. Theming is so good as well, and I think we got our first like hood classic. I really do. I really love racing on this track, but the theme is nice. The turns are interesting. The hazard fit the theme really well. I want to put it in A, if I'm being honest. It might be a bit high for some, and I understand, but call me rose tinted all you want. Okay, call me rose tinted. But I'm gonna slap it in A. What do you guys think? S for cheese, A because mice, definitely a solid A. The cheese looks more melted, but for a game at the time, and whoever came up with driving a little cheese is ingenious. It really is good, honestly. No one cares about baggers. Cheese Land is amazing, and so are the remake. True! Boss Guy approved. But what do we think about the... Do you know what I think about the music, guys? Do you know what I think about the music? Nintendo wasn't the one that developed this. It was Intelligent Systems. They're known for games like WarioWare and Fire Emblem. I like to imagine there was like one guy who was working on like Mario Kart Super Circuit. At the same time, they were working on Fire Emblem 7 on the Game Boy Advance. I like to imagine like the Fire Emblem 7 co-worker John went up to like his Mario Kart Super Circuit friend and was like, oh hey Jack, how's Mario Kart Super Circuit doing? And then John was just like, I don't know why, I have this insatiable urge to create the greatest bass line of all time. Whoa, how's that gonna go, Jack? How does that sound? Wait, it doesn't sound like cat. Shut up and listen. Just hear me out on this one, okay? Do you hear it? Yeah? Whoa! That fucking bass, dude. Get in! It's crazy! Whoa, Jack, you were right. That bass line was crazy, John. We haven't even gotten to my favorite part yet. Are you ready? I'm taking you to the next level, homie. Wait, seriously? It might not be easy being cheesy, but it certainly was the easiest decision I've ever made, putting Cheeeese Land in the highest honor of all. Just like, I think Brickmaster is not exaggerating when he says that you're one of the best Nintendo songs ever made, without a shadow of a doubt. And bear in mind, the 8 Deluxe rendition is absolutely phenomenal, which is the testament to how good the original already was. Honestly, they knocked this one out of the park easily. Top 5 in all of Mario Kart without a shadow of a doubt. How are you gonna follow that up? Who is it? Who dares follow that up? Musty of the past. What stage is next? Oh god. Isn't it so cool, guys, how Luigi, like, becomes, like, a slight tint of red when he's going across the lava bridge, like, to get the lava's, like, you know, it's so good, it's like, oh, it's crazy. My issue with this Bowser Castle is that, like, the first one kind of had a right to get, a right, so to speak, to get it being a bit simple, because it's in the Mushroom Cup, they want to keep it simple, difficulty curve. Bowser Castle 3, like, I would say is intricate enough to be worthy of a Star Cup track. Same with Bowser Castle 4 in the Special Cup. But I think this one just doesn't do enough, right? It doesn't have any interesting hazards. Like the jumps here, I don't really find them to be too interesting. And I was thinking, why aren't these jumps really too interesting? And it's mainly because, like, in Bowser Castle 1, you know the jump section at the end? There was, like, fireballs that came up. So, like, you always had to be kind of somewhat on your toes. But in this one, right, you turn to the first of the jump section. There's a fireball on this pool, but this pool is not high enough for you to jump over normally. So you always skip it. You always skip this middle pie hill, even though it's the only one that has a fireball, as you can see. If this section here had a fireball, or these ones, or these ones, or this one, or this one, then yeah, the section would be even more interesting. It'd be like a play on Bowser Castle 1's gimmick. And then yeah, there's some fireballs here, but it's like Pedro says, I just skip all the jumps and go down the middle. Why would you ever take the jumps on this part? I guess the game's way of testing if you can thread a needle, but if they would have forced you to maybe interact with it, maybe a little bit, sure, but it just has nothing going for it, I would say. And considering it's supposed to be a bit more intricate and doesn't really do anything interesting with his intricacy, I think I'm just gonna put it in a D, if I'm being honest. It's not so offensive that it goes down here, but like, you're at the end of Flower Cup. At this point, especially considering we just had Cheeeese Land, yeah, you have no excuse to not leave an impression on me. Like, and frankly, you haven't, honestly. No trick system makes it basically never faster to hit the jumps. Yeah, like, I think this stage could benefit from the trick system, but yet they still remade it for Mario Kart DS, so a game which still didn't have a trick system yet. So, like, I think Bowser Castle 2 hasn't been given its rightful day in the sun, and it might be at some point, just not now. Luigi's Circuit. Oh man, we love Luigi, don't we, chat? Luigi, can you tell I love Luigi? Can you tell? U-turn, side turn, then another side turn, and a U-turn down here. By the time you got into this stage, the game is like, motherfucker, you better know how to drift. You better know how to drift, or guess what? I'm gonna come to your house. You're gonna be in trouble. I'm gonna drift into your house and destroy everything you own. Amogus. That's what this stage is trying to tell you. And I'm like, you know what? It's very sussy Barker of you, but I respect it, honestly. Look at me, you see me drifting? You see these mini turbos I'm getting, guys? I'm so good at this game! Look at this! You would never get this footage from a Weebo. You would never get this from, look at this jump and then mini turbo. Ooh! The drifts, especially on 150cc, as you guys can see, on 150cc, perfectly drifting those U-turns are really, really fun. But the stage does offer you enough of a breadth to go wide and still not be punished too hard, especially with the first turn. I think the later turns in the stage get a bit more narrow, but if you look at this first turn here, you get quite a wide breadth for you to go, like, because you're still getting the hang of it. Well, by the time you're done with this first U-turn, you should be ready for more of those. Do you know what I mean? It's got some decent hazards in the puddles that are on the field. The U-turns give a good job of teaching you how to drift, or you're screwed. I'd put it in B. I think B's a good shout. Luigi Circuit Cheeeese Laaaaaand are trying to have a chat down there. Look at those losers down there. Sheesh, there's too many. It's called remake and tour. Well, I hope they did something interesting with it. And if they're gonna make it in the BCP or 9, I hope they take its gimmick and add a bit more to it. Because I think just having good U-turns as a gimmick probably isn't enough from modern day Mario Kart. But I hope you take the whole, maybe it's raining, lots of turns, do something with it. It's got good potential. In its original incarnation, definitely a B, but it's got potential to be remade more. Who was it that said it on my Discord? Who was it? Someone bring up the screenshot. If I don't see Sky Garden high, it's all over for all of you guys. Is Sky Garden worth the hype? Is it worth the hype? It is, I'm not gonna lie. You can see the Luigi blimp as well. That also makes it really nice. But one thing I really like about this stage, I think it juxtaposes, I don't know if that's the right word, I'm trying to be fancy, but I think it's a very nice foil to Luigi Circuit. What Luigi Circuit taught you is that you have to be able to drift quite hard, like with U-turns, otherwise you're going to end up going off track. In this stage, as you can see with the mini-map, the turns aren't as harsh. There's a U-turn here, of course, to keep you on your toes, but the turns aren't as harsh, but the punishment is greater. If you end up going off the track, yeah, you end up losing the speed, but if you end up going too far off track, you fall down, which I think is one of the first stages that isn't a Bowser Castle that punishes you that way. I mean, there was Booooooo Lake as well, I suppose, so the idea of punishing you by, like, completely submerging you down and forcing you to come back up isn't something that they've used a lot, and this is where gamers, I teach you about something interesting. I call it GBA physics, because Lord knows the physics in this game lead you to make some very, very interesting shortcuts. Exhibit A. Instead of going all the way around here like this, watch this epic game of play. Yeah? That move ended up getting me all the ladies in primary school, trust me. Overall, though, a very, very fun track. It doesn't like grip me on the same way that like Cheeeese Land does, but I would say that maybe low. I would say on the low end of A. I would say Cheeeese Land is definitely higher. It's maybe on the low end of A. It's just a fun track, nice theming. Part of why I like it so much is it follows up Luigi Circuit really, really well. Luigi Circuit harsh with the drifting, but low on the punishment. Sky Garden lighter on the drifting, but harsher on the punishment. I think they really work together very well. The music. And the way the drum kicks in, hang on. I think it has like so many layers. There's just so many nice layers to it, isn't it? Oh, it's so good. It's really nice, isn't it? It's really nice. I'm seeing a lot of shouts for S tier. I really, really like the energy that the DS version has. And I think Sky Garden in the DCP, as annoying as that track is as a remake, I really like the transition that it does to the second half. In its original incarnation, it's really, 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 really good. But I don't think it's S tier though. I don't think it's S tier. I think S tier is just a bit out of its reach. It's still a fantastically solid. It does go hard though. It does go hard. Feel free to screenshot. Luigi Circuit and Sky Garden work really, really well, coming up one off the other. And then, where do you go next? You end up going to Cheep Island. Underrated track, on God. It's good. Boo. I'm seeing some mixed opinions from the chat here. Best game in the track. I will die on... I decided to harass some birds for a bit, if that's alright with you guys. Instead of going like all the way up and around, you can just like jump across, which I think is a really nice shortcut to this stage's credit. Show the people the shortcut must have gone. There it is. Boing. Imagine this stage came back in Mario Kart Online and it had like that shortcut. The amount of times you'd be like up here on the stage and all of a sudden you'd go from like 1st to 8th. GBA shortcuts are like a different breed. But more about this track in general. Luigi's Circuit and Sky Garden had a nice thing going for it. Like they really ramped up from difficulty to each other. But like just look how wide and simple this stage is. Like it just doesn't really do much. You can harass some birds. There's a big fish in the background. I mean, this bridge bit is kind of dicey, I guess, but it doesn't fit Lightning Cup. Like, I remember when we were doing, a while ago, we streamed doing, like, our retro picks. Like, what do we want Mario Kart 9 to have? And we tried to, like, scale it in terms of difficulty. So even though it's a 3rd cup track, I saw some of you guys put it in, like, the 2nd cup or the 1st cup, and I honestly don't think that was a bad shout. I think this stage is just really a bit too simplistic to be right after Sky Garden, and I think it's disappointing in that regard, but even if we don't account for that, it just doesn't really do anything too interesting to justify not only its Lightning Cup spot, but just to justify its existence in general. I like that it's simple for new players, but also has difficulty for shortcuts and experienced players, and also one of the most beautiful tracks in the game. I think once you get into Lightning Cup especially, I don't think like just being simple for new players is good enough. I think you should be able to get rid of that in the Mushroom Cup. Like when the Mushroom Cup, I'm fine with that. That's why I didn't really punish Bowser Castle 1 too much, but I did punish Bowser Castle 2. Because just being simple but not being intricate or like having enough of a gimmick to you isn't good enough once you leave the Mushroom Cup. What gimmick does this have? It doesn't have anything. If the Cheep in the background, the chompy fella, I don't know what he's called in the background, ended up like harassing you every now and again, then fair. That could have been quite interesting, very interesting actually. If the birds that were just chilling on the pitch ended up like just harassing you every now and again, sure, that could have been interesting. Theming aside, and I do like the sunset look, I think there's another track that has a sunset that does it just a bit better. So for that, I'm gonna give it, I want to put it in D actually. I don't think it does anything. I'm sorry, Brickmaster, and when I see your tier list, I'm gonna yell at you some more. Don't worry about that. This is one of the tracks. I don't know how you guys feel about Sunset Wilds in this game. I know it's been remade for Tour, but let's kind of forget about Tour for the moment. I really, really loved Sunset Wilds as a kid. So when I replayed this game, I was really excited to play again. And I think this is one of those rare instances where like me replaying a stage, I realized that it's not as good as I thought it was. I don't know if this ever happened to some of you guys. One thing I absolutely adored about this track, and I think it's something that some of the stages in this game do, is that like it's a bit dynamic. So like it's sunset first, and you get to lap 2, the sun's kind of gone from the horizon, and you get to lap 3, and it's nighttime. I really like that. This kind of dynamic lap design is completely trivial to modern day Mario Kart design, where like you have an entire game that based their whole thing off lap changing gimmicks. Mario Kart Tour. So the idea of a track just changing its background a bit, not really that interesting. But by 2001, I really like this sort of thing. And even replaying this now, I really like that sort of transition. But as a stage though, I really like this stage's hazard, right? The Shy Guy in their tents. Because as you guys are gonna see, I think Past Musty surely did this. Past Musty, are you gonna slam dunk me on this one? He did slam dunk me. If you drive into one of the tents, the Shy Guys latch onto you, and they not only slow down, but ruin your coin count. And in Mario Kart Super Circuit, that's also very detrimental. If you have 0 coins in this game, a CPU bumping into you spins you out. So you really do not want to get hit by this guy at all. With the way the CPU's auto-pathing goes, it's a nice little glitch. That tent there, this first CPU is always guaranteed to hit that first time. Just to prove it, that one right there. That works every time. I really like the latching Shy Guys. I wish this stage had more of that going on, because I think for the most part the rest of the stage is relatively bland. I just really like that latching Shy Guy gimmick, honestly. And I know some of you guys have said in Tour the Shy Guys don't latch onto you, they just kind of walk around. Here's where I'm getting spicy with it, guys. Here's where I'm getting spicy with it. First lap is sunset, they're walking around. Second lap, they're finding their ways to their tents. Third lap, when it's night, they're in their tents and walking into them, they latch onto you. I'm a genius, right? I'm a genius.
My disappointment is immeasurable, and my day is ruined.
Overall, as smart as the idea is, overall in this game, no man, my inner child is screaming at me to put this high, but I can't put this high. I can't. I'm sorry. The latching Shy Guys are the only thing this stage is going for it, and I can't put it higher because of that. I just can't. Some of you guys have said Sunset Miles in the chat, and I was really upset with you, but unfortunately, I have to agree. No, I know you guys are all booing me. You guys are all booing me, I know. Leave the tomatoes out of this, guys. Stop throwing tomatoes at me, please. I'm a man of honesty, not a man of the people. Okay? They're crying. Everyone's crying for B. Everyone's crying. But I'm going to stick to my guns on this one, guys. The latching Shy Guys is all it's got, and I can't put it in B just for that. I'm sorry. Am I going to make even more enemies when it comes to my opinion of the music? When the bass kicks in here, hang on, wait for it. Banjo. Banjo Man again. It's a nice little D, isn't it? It's really nice. It doesn't quite make its way into the A tier, but a solid B. It's a solid B, honestly. That banjo is hot for sure. There's a lot of potential for music remakes. It really does. I'm gonna leave it in high B. A tier for me. S tier. Low S tier. Man, Sunset Wilds has a lot of a grip on you guys, but I'm the one who's nostalgia Andy over this. It should be me rating it highly, not you guys, right? This is my Mario Kart. Bet you guys weren't even live when this Mario Kart was out, huh? I bet you weren't. After we enjoy the sunset glow, next we travel to... Leave me alone! Ah! Firstly, shout out to the guy at Intelligent Systems who thought it'd be a really funny idea. Just make a line of like 30 or so coins here. Most of the coins you find in this level are in this extremely long line here. I don't know whose idea that was, but I do quite like that. You have multiple hazards in the stage. You have the ice pot, like the ice puddles here, which if you go on it, you end up spinning out. The penguins here who also spin, which you might recognize from the BCP remake. I quite like this. I really think this bit is underrated. I like the decision making that you have to make when you round this final corner here. Like either here, you can either take the turn inwardsly, but then potentially miss the item, or you can take the outer drift and then get the item. Or if you're really feeling gamer, you can slip in between here, just there, just so you can also grab an item box. Or you can just jump over like that, just jump straight over like I do because I'm a jigger chat. So I always hit those snowmen, and I hate that I do. I don't want to hit the snowman, okay? I don't want to be a snowman murderer, so go back, Musty, go back. No, actually, I do want to be a snowman. Musty, what are you doing? Why are you murdering all the... Musty, what are you doing? What am I doing? What am I doing? Oh my god! I'm reversed! I'm sorry, I accidentally showed you guys live leak on stream. Well, before I get my Twitch account banned, you know what, right? You know, I want to be honest, guys. I want to be honest, right? I'm on Team Boss Guy here, I'm not gonna lie. Was the migraining really annoying? Sure, but you know what? Skill issue. If you want to play a Mario Kart game, you deserve to have a migraine constantly. Here, I'll solve the migraines for you guys when it comes to Snowland. Remember guys. It never annoyed me as a kid, but honestly, if you rate Snowland low because of that, I completely understand. But I'm not gonna, because I just want to be different and cool and edgy. Is the music cool and edgy though? Let's have a listen. Yeah, the lead instrument, that's definitely different. All right, let's listen to the OG instead. The OG. In all its compressed glory. Are you loving it, guys? Are you loving that? Are you loving the compression? Yes. Do you ever believe it when people say stuff like that, guys? Or do you think they're telling porcupines? I've always said when Snowland came back, I never thought much of it. I just think it's okay. It's okay. I'm gonna be consistent, okay? I can't say, oh my, don't always thought it was just ice music. And when it came back, listen, L me all you want, but cry. Compressed or not, I don't care, alright? It's just a C. It's just a C, I say. L's, bring on the L's. Go on, bring them all. Bring on all the L's. Bring on all the L's. When beach music is beach music is me. When snow music is a C. Welcome to the world of opinions. I'm so musty. After you end up going into this snowman's paradise, you end up in the ribboniest of ribbon roads. Do you know how, like I said, Sunset Wilds was a stage I really loved as a kid, but then when I replayed it, I'm just like, eh. There's another one. This is a stage as a kid I thought was really meh. But when I replayed it, I was pleasantly surprised. It's actually a solid track, honestly. I think even in my Mario Kart 8 video, you'll hear me say that, like, 8 Deluxe rendition of Ribbon Road just knocks the original out of the park. And I say it's better, don't get me wrong, I still think the 8 Deluxe version is better, but this version isn't that bad neither, you know what I mean? It isn't that really that bad. Musty, are you gonna do the thing? Musty, are you gonna show him the thing? I think Musty, guys, watch Musty of the past. I feel like Intelligent Systems were a bit too busy developing Fire Emblem around this time, because they didn't account for the most glaring shortcut on Planet Earth. You know how some of the shortcuts I've shown you, they at least involve a mushroom? Watch this shortcut. I'm sure Musty's gonna show us right now.
This is epic.
What is the physics engine on this game? It's something, man. It's something. I really like the theme of the stage. You know, there's presents all around. You're on a ribbon, like literally on a ribbon. You're on a ribbon of a present, racing along. I think that's quite fun, right? It's a fun gimmick. But if you're asking me now, in all my adult glory, 20 years under the belt, I would put it. I'd put it in B. I think I'd put it in B. It's good. It's a solid. It's in fact a solid choice. What about that melody? I like the clapping. The clapping you can hear in this one is really, really nice, honestly. Actually, you know, I'm going to be honest, guys. I lied to you. This is actually a fake version of Ribbon Road GBA. This is actually the real. I'm going to play you the real version right now. This is the real version, guys. This is the version that A Deluxe got a lot of its inspiration from, as you can tell. But this version is only available in the beta build. But this is the version they took for inspiration in 8 Deluxe. And this is another one where I'm just like, I really hated it when I was a kid. I used to be Boss Guy. I'm like, I never remember this. This version sucks. I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna do it. Boo me all you want. Maybe am I being too nice to it to make up for my anger as a child? Maybe. The 8 Deluxe version blows out of the water. I'd much rather listen to that. But this rendition is pretty good. It's pretty good, I would say so. I really would. So once you're done ribboning on the ribbon, oh, leave me alone! Why did they have to put my boy Yoshi on this? Now, one thing I have to give this stage credit for, I have to give this thing, because I really like this. I really like this. Now, if you guys have just started playing Mario Kart with 8 Deluxe, you might take this for granted. But one thing that playing old Mario Kart is really annoying. When you jump off the map, the screen ends up fading to black. Lakito just ends up picking you up, dropping you in. It's just really, really slow. I love the fact that 8 Deluxe sped up. Like, the moment you got these, you're, whoop, come back on there, buddy. This is a hazard that, like, takes you out of the game for a while, but doesn't, like, do the fade to black. Let me put you back in. Like, once you fall into these sand pits, the piranhas eat you, but they just spit you out. Just straight back onto the track, mate. Keep it stepping. I really like that. I think that's a really, really clever hazard. Also, you have to respect their distance as well, because once you end up going into, as you can see, even if you just touch the edge of the quicksand, they end up sucking you in and just chomping you up and then spitting you out again. So you have to be very, very careful, honestly. There is a cool shortcut at the end, which I'm trying to get to. Around this, instead of going around the lake, you can just boing. A mushroom is actually how you're supposed to, but you can just cheekily just weave your way around. I don't know if it's faster, but it is cool to do it, that's for sure. Yoshi Desert isn't the most offensive desert track. At least it has a cool hazard. Yoshi Sphinx in the background, you can't go wrong with. It's definitely not atrocious. It's one of the better desert tracks, although that's not really saying much. It's still a desert track in the end of the day. It's still a C tier. It's still a C tier, okay? There's not anything crazy for it. But what I do love about this stage, though, actually, the music. Ooh, I love this rendition. Woo! The Queek is back! The Queek is back! That bass as well. That snake charming flute, like you just feel like you're getting charmed, aren't you guys? The flute here as well. It's good, isn't it? It's good, it's good, yeah! It's really good, honestly. And if we listen to the uncompressed version, clearly hear something that boss guys are mentioning. Ping on you know that sound effect when you jump on Yoshi in like Super Mario World? It's a really nice touch. It really makes you feel like this is a Yoshi Desert. I really like this. It goes hard. I'm screen showing this one, guys, because it goes hard. It goes really hard. But once you're done having a look at the Yoshi Sphinx, next you end up outside of Bowser's castle, the 3rd time. As I've mentioned before, instead of just being orange, yellow, or red, he's gone with the blue color scheme. Now this is where the Bowser castles really come into their own. I think there's a bit of a debate between which Bowser castle is better, 3 or 4. I think both of them are genuinely good. But let's talk about 3 first. 3 has a very nice layout, loads of tight turns, thwomps constantly there to make sure to check your driving. Just like, you see, I did it on purpose, you see? Posthumously and me are lined up. It does the thing that Bowser Castle 2 didn't. If you're gonna make a section where you're forced to just jump boringly for a bit, at least, like, make fireballs come up so that you kind of have something to do, you know? An item, a risk-reward item as well with another U-turn. Track starts to shorten up on this bit. And you have to be careful, otherwise you'll fall off. The track shortens up here as well. Towards the end, the track really gets really claustrophobic just to test your driving skill that little bit extra. I really like that. I'm a good driver. Don't make fun of me, okay? Not allowed to. Shut up. I'm an excellent driver. A Weebo has nothing on me. But I think this stage is consistently designed very, very, very well. Is the Ultra Shortcut in Wii in the original version? I don't think I know what the Ultra Shortcut is, if I'm being honest.
Now, this is epic.
I'm gonna say yes. I'm gonna say yes just to get the Wii stands on my side as well. We do in fact have an Ultra Shortcut on this. I knocked him into the lava. Did you see that? Wasn't that cool? Wasn't that cool? I'm gonna knock him into the lava as well, right? Yeah! Knock him again, Musty. Knock him again. Okay, I may have bitten off more than I can chew, but this stage certainly did not. It is You know what? I think we finally have our first S tier track. I think it's just so consistently designed. It doesn't do anything like gimmick phenomenally well, but it is just a really, really, really tight, solid, amazing stage. It needs to come back in Mario Kart 9, or we are going to start a riot for sure. Once we're done having a look at potentially the best Bowser Castle, we go on to the Special Cup. We're going to have a chat, gamers. We're going to have a chat with someone that I've spoken about in a past tier list. I don't think you guys have been introduced to him yet. We're gonna go meet the cooler Daniel. What do we think about Lakeside Park? I wonder. Lakeside Park goes crazy. Is the stage, in fact, as cool as it sounds? I think its hazard is very, very, very nice. I really like this, mostly this stretch of land. There's a volcano, as you can see in the background. It throws up fireballs, which I do think end up being a really, really nice hazard. Like, oh fuck, no, where'd I go? Where did Cooler Daniel go? No. A lot of people dislike it due to the volcanic rock. I think it's probably one of the more interesting hazards. Like, they don't exactly take the middle path of the track, but I think they end up really being a potent hazard. I don't get hit by them a lot, but they definitely are because I'm fantastic at the game. But they do end up being a very potent threat, honestly. You have to be very, very careful of the rocks, truly. And then you've got something that some people are not going to like on a purely design perspective, but I like it. L+ ratio. On this U-turn here, most of the time when you mess up a U-turn, the punishment is hitting the wall, slowing down. How about the punishment for a U-turn being, this part here is a bounce rail that you can jump off. So if you take a U-turn a bit too hard, you could jump over and you have to do the whole bit again. You end up getting knocked back a bunch of places. It's really, really punishing. Some people might not like that style of punishing their player. I think at this point in the Special Cup, if you can't U-drift, them's the breaks, man. Them's the breaks. If it wasn't like Star or even Lightning, I'd be like, you know what, that's a bit too harsh. This is a Special Cup, motherfucker. All right, get used to it. We are crazy up in here. Once again, Musty in all his glory. I end up showcasing the greatness of the GBA Mario Kart's physics, as you can see here. So normally you're supposed to grab this speed pad. I'll show you on the track down here. You're supposed to grab the speed pad and go straight down, along there, and then back up and around like that. Because I'm so Musty, and I've played this game since I was a child, I've decided instead of going like down here and around, I've decided to just go straight along like that. Just go right the way up like that. As you can see right now, observe. By taking this boost here, this little bump, if you landed this pump perfectly, you could jump the whole thing. And if you're asking Musty, surely you looked up a video. These are all from my childhood, okay? These are all from my childhood. I don't know any more. The only shortcuts I'm using are the ones I remember from when I was a kid. So if you play me on this stage, guys, just be prepared. I'm going to use the wackiest shortcuts you've ever seen on planet Earth. Lakeside Park, I think, has a really cool gimmick. Punishing U-turn to, like, really make sure you got the hang of it. A really cool shortcut. But that shortcut that is harder than it looks. Even though it's baked into the stage by a speed pad, you don't need a mushroom. I still think it's quite difficult. High risk, high reward as well. It really does its job of introducing you to the Special Cup with style, I would say, with style and grace. Not enough to go into the S tier, but definitely one of the better tracks in this game for sure. Lakesid's a better track by for Riverside's OST. That's an interesting shout. This Diego Thon's point makes sense. Let's have a listen. One thing I love about this track so much is that, like, firstly, it gets right into it. Firstly, that's a good thing to say. It gets right into it. Secondly, it mixes, I think, both of the Daniel and the cooler Daniel to make one amazing Daniel, like the Giga Chad Daniel. So, like, you can hear it constantly shifts between the two. Look. So this is Lakeside Park. And then it quietens down with a bit of Riverside Park. And a bit chill Riverside Park, you know? Then Lakeside Park comes back. Trumpet guy eats dinner. River. And then right back into lake. This is one of the best tracks in the Mario Kart series without a shadow of a doubt. And it is better than Riverside Park. Finley, you can keep crying. Finley can keep crying. Seymour, the house is on fire. No, mother, it's just the Mega Daniel. Can we say the same about the next stage? Broken Pier. Once again, it looks so spooky up in here that you can't even see where the water is. I do like this this mountain in the background. It looks really, really nice. If Alpha Dream end up being revived and not making a new Mario Luigi game, I want to be able to go up that mountain. What would it be called? Grumpy Mountain? Shifrilus. He's like a YouTuber who usually does movie reviews.
Big channel, over 1 million subs.
I watched his video about Mario Kart Super Circuit. He did not rate Broken Pier that highly, and he kept saying it's because it was too hard. And while I was very tempted to smug chuckle and be like, skill issue, the stage is definitely a bit funky. There's a lot of invisible bridges on this one, by the way. If you thought Booooooo Lake was bad, look at me, guys. I'm Jesus. I'm driving on water. Look at that. I left a banana on that bridge for myself later as well. Okay, where am I going? Oh, I think I wanted to do the mushroom shortcut. And then, guys, and then there's another bridge right here. Another bridge. Ooh, do you like that? Do you like that, guys? Do you like that? And then there's another bridge that's a bit more... There's another bridge that's a bit more visible over here. There's another bridge that's a bit more visible over here. Wow, isn't that cool, huh? There's a bump here, and then you can bump to this island. You see the island up ahead? And then from there, you bump to the other one. But this shortcut's really interesting, because instead of just using a mushroom and using the maximum height that the mushroom allows to just straight go across and then jump across again, you have to time your mushroom at the right spot. Like, I think that's quite interesting, but look. You see, I just about did it there. You have to, like, really go all the way up to as close to the edge as you can, but not so close that, like, you end up undershooting it. It's quite a nice shot. If they do remake this stage, I want them to keep a shortcut like that. I think I've rewound to show you guys what it looks like. See, if you go full, you end up going over it. See, and even past Musty has me covered on this one. See, it's really strict. It's really, really strict. It's a tough one. It's a tough one. But I think if you're going to have a shortcut that, like, skips that much of the track, I think it should be as punishing as this one is. So I don't really mind it. Sometimes you might not want to take it because it's just too much. But if you're, like, far back and you really need a Hail Mary to make a comeback, test your luck on the shortcut. Who knows what will happen? And also, there's another fun gimmick as well, which no one ever talks about. I think it's a really cool gimmick. Did you see the boos on the side? In Booooooo Lake, they were just holding up candles. In this stage, if you go near a boo, they harass you. They harass you. They start catcalling. Hey, baby, what's your number? Hey, why are you walking away? You gotta smile more. If you take the turns a bit too wide, you end up getting harassed, catcalled by the boos. And I am a strong, independent man who does not like to be catcalled, okay? So you will never see me getting harassed by a boo. Definitely not. But you're so handsome. Listen, you can save the flirting for later. Yeah, I can definitely see why people say they don't care for this track, because I think it can be a bit much. But... you know what? I would say skill issue, plus L, plus ratio, plus get good at the game, plus you suck. The music, we don't have to talk about the music because it's same as Booooooo Lake. Louse's Castle for A. When it comes to, like, I've seen you guys cry in the Discord so much. Why haven't Nintendo remade this stage I like? Nintendo, I want this stage to be in the booster course. Do you know one stage that deserves to be in the booster course pass? Bowser Castle 4. One thing I really like about the stage, it doesn't really bore you at any point. And I think a remake could make the parts that maybe are a bit boring much more intricate. Let's get into it, right? So first you start off, a couple of good turns, but you start off with the lava pits here. And unlike Bowser Castle 2 or 3, where they had like jumps to like stop you from like falling in straight away, there's no jumps here. So you could go, if you're like even 1 pixel in these lava, you end up going again. So you have to be really, really careful. You can just mostly drive straight, but you have to be careful. And then you get to these turns here. Again, another bit of a risky thing. If you take the turn wide, you can get the speed boost, which if you manage to use the speed boost to stay on the stage, it's faster than taking the turn inwardly. But it does come with a risk of having to maintain control of your car, as you can see here. Of course, because I'm a gamer, I can do it. But the second turn, I decided to take inward to avoid messing up, you know? And then you get some more thwomps here. And then, do you know what I did, right? I got a video I recommended, which was Mario Kart GBA stages remade in other games. And they showed a remake of Bowser Castle 4 in Mario Kart 7, which I think looks really nice. But I think this part was butchered. Mainly because I think the risk that comes with this part here is that there's speed panels and an item box. But actually maneuvering your car in such a way to very quickly just, you see that you have to quickly just go left and then right. Really, it's actually harder than it looks. Make it look easy. I'm a gamer when it comes to this game. In order for the risk to be worth it, you have to be able to like turn and just maneuver yourself correctly, really, really right. I think the mistake they made when the person they were showcasing the mods for Mario Kart 7 is that this bit wasn't punishing enough. The speed pads were a bit too far from the item, which made this bit less compelling. But I really, really like the risk reward you have to do here. I can genuinely see you not bothering in this item because you don't have the maneuverability to be able to turn like that really quickly. I do think this bit is probably the only boring part of the track. You choose left or right, but you're always choosing right. The stage continues there, so you're always going right. The AI always goes left for some reason, but you're always going right. There's no choice here. Don't really know. Maybe do you guys like that verticality? Do you guys like that? Let me show you guys again. I have to show you guys again because that bit went really, really hard. Right, look at this. Crazy. But then you get to the Mecha Koopas, which I think they maybe should have had a couple of extra Mecha Koopas. I think this Mecha Koopa section is really, really short. They walk around quite randomly. You have to stay on your toes there. and then after a couple more thwomps, you're right back to the beginning. One very intricate track. It doesn't feel boring at any point, does it? It really feels like you're doing stuff. And for a track as long as it is, because I think this is like probably the longest stage in the game, I think it really does a good job of keeping your interest. And I have to rate Bowser Castle 4 quite highly for that. So when I said, what is the better Bowser Castle, 3 or 4? I think they're both S-tier contenders. They're both fantastic tracks in this game. But the question is 4 higher or is 3 higher? And I would say 4 is the more intricate one. And we're only down to one more stage, the final stage in the game. Is Rainbow Road going to join the elite of Mario Kart Super Circuit? Is it Rainbow Road or is it Rainbow Road? I really, really like this rendition of Rainbow Roads. I think one thing that it has over other Rainbow Roads is that I think the hazards in this map are really, really interesting. These clouds here, they end up like shooting thunder, and while they're not that big a threat, like as in like they shoot thunder so rarely and they're kind of out of the way, make you shrink as if you just got hit by a thunderbolt. So you don't want to get hit by those. As much as they're not really that frequent a hazard, you do not want to get hit by those. And you get to the shooting stars as well, which kind of funnel you down the middle. You have to be careful when it comes to wavering around. Unlike Mario Kart N64, which made the mistake of like, hey, let's have guardrails on what's supposed to be the hardest track in the game. This stage kind of, it doesn't do guardrails, but does bumps as well. So if you go slightly off track, you end up jumping, which the momentum you can use to carry yourself back on the stage. So it's punishing, but not too punishing, I would say. I think that's quite generous with this track. So you see right there? You see right there how, like, I took the turn a bit too early, but the bounce was enough to get me all right. Now, here's where we get to the fun stuff, guys. Because of the GBA physics, if you've never seen quite a shortcut like this, guys. You've never, I promise you. So, again, just to clarify, this part, you end up going all the way down, around, and in here. But then if you're a gamer like me, you're like, you know what? Fuck all this down here. Let's just go from here all the way to here. Don't believe me? Musty, take it away. Show us. Do it again, Musty. Do it again, but properly this time. Again, go on. Ooh, and then boom, and then watch this. And then watch this, guys. Shortcut, speed. This is the actual shortcut. Look at this. You're supposed to stay on the stage, Musty. Come on, Jesus. There we go. And then bounce some more. Boom. Turn. Speed pad. Trying to obviously look really cool, but this stage is actually really, really hard to do properly. So my toxic trait is, by the way, thinking that I could do this. This is actually my footage, by the way. This is me as a kid, showcasing to you guys. Oh, Jesus Christ. Oh my God, I didn't know you could do that many shortcuts in this. Oh my God. So imagine playing that shit online, guys. Rainbow Road has a lot of hazards, interesting turns, fun as hell shortcuts. What's going to be interesting about this stage is that while I have no question in my mind that this stage in its base game is an S tier, I really have a lot of fun with the shortcuts. What's going to be really, really fun is that knowing that in a future Mario Kart game, it's not going to have the crazy shortcuts that it has in this version. It's going to be really fun to see how they remake this Rainbow Road. They can either make it really bland or they can make it really wacky as well. The remake won't do it justice. It definitely won't do it justice because I think most of this stage's weirdnesses has to do with the physics. But it could definitely take an angle with this stage to make it a lot more interesting. It depends on how creative they're feeling. They made N64 Rainbow Road one of the best Rainbow Roads in existence. I trust that they can do something with this stage. But what about, for the last time, gamers, say the line with me. What in fact is that melody? I just love the bass on this. The bass and the melody, they just work so well together. Drum guy. Poker Michael probably brings up something that I've always thought about this Rainbow Road, in that I don't really, other than the intro, which I think kind of, it does sound very Rainbow Road-esque, right? The intro? Especially with the like shooting star kind of sound it's supposed to do. But I don't think the rest of it particularly does, but that doesn't stop it from being a very energetic and fun track to listen to. It might not have that Rainbow Road flair, which they could easily do if they remade this for Mario Kart 9. I think this stage is just really, it sounds so good. It sounds so good. Like, I don't really have too much to say. Like, I think it's just a banger. Intelligent Systems didn't know what to do when it came to making a Rainbow Road sound like a Rainbow Road, but they did know how to make one hell of a bop. And for that, Seymour, the house is on fire. It certainly is, mother. It certainly is. Okay, time for the SNES tracks, Musty. Instead of covering all the SNES tracks, instead I'll give it to Past Musty. Hey, Past Musty, do you want to take this one for me?
The lightning round!
Instead of skipping over the extra tracks like everyone else seems to, I'm going to cover them extremely quickly, because Lord knows I don't want to talk about these tracks any longer than I have to. Instead of going by cup order, I'm going to go by theme. So let's begin with Mario Circuit. I'll give Mario Circuit 1 some respect for being the first track in the first cup in the first Mario Kart. They removed the pipes, added an item box on the shortcut, but it's still not getting any plaudits from me. D tier. Mario Circuit 2 is at least a bit more interesting. Couple of nice turns, an iron box off to the side, and at least a little bit of verticality. The turns work well with GBA's physics, and it's actually quite fun. B tier. While I've been very mean to Mario Circuit 3 in the BCP, over here I think it fits right at home. The GBA physics make the tight turns very satisfying to pull off, while not being too difficult to be annoying. The general hazard removal that the Super Nintendo track's got doesn't affect this track this much, so it ends up being quite fun. A tier. Mario Circuit 4 just feels like a beta build of Mario Circuit 3 that somehow made it into the game. For what's supposed to be the last Mario Circuit, and as a result could be the most interesting, the most intricate, it just feels like a rip-off of Mario Circuit 3, and I'd rather just play that one instead. D tier. As for the music, the GBA drums doesn't quite hit as hard as the Super Nintendo one, but it's still quite a fun ditty to listen to. B tier. Now let's go to Donut Plains. Donut Plains 1 and 2 really do feel interchangeable. Like, just look at their maps. Since they're so interchangeable, I'll rank them together. Both C tiers. Donut Plains 3 is at least a bit more interesting. Not to mention, courtesy of the GBA physics, if you got a mushroom, you can basically skip half the entire stage. If you don't pull the shortcut right, you end up having to do the whole lap again. Very high risk, high reward. At least it's got that going for it. B tier. As for the music, it's lovely to hear the Whistle Man again. Take notes, 8 Deluxe. B tier. Let's go to Ghost Valley next. Ghost Valley 1's biggest crime is being a bit too simple, although that's the life it was given considering it's an early game track. The jump that you'd have to make with a feather is actually possible if you use a mushroom to jump off this bump here. An interesting way of grabbing a last minute first place, but it still doesn't do much for me. C tier. Ghost Valley 2 and 3 are obviously a bit more interesting. Having to drift a bit wider than you'd like for an item, and a nice shortcut over here make for an interesting stage. And Ghost Valley 3 with its potholes is more of the same too. I put them both in B. The music though? Man, this really makes me feel like I'm in a ghost house. It's fine, I got nothing to say. C tier. Let's move on to Bowser Castle. One is boring as sin, it's got nothing going for it. What the hell are even those bumps on the side for? Only the Lord knows. F tier. Bowser Castle 2 is actually quite interesting. One of the roads leads to a dead end. I know in Super Mario Kart you used to be able to use a feather, but there's no such luck here. The choice of turns you can make is actually quite an interesting gimmick. I'm hoping if they remake this stage they lean into the more maze-like structure of this map and give that dead end turn a bit more love, maybe incorporating into the stage or something. Either way, the tight turns are very, very harsh, but all the more satisfying to pull off. B tier. Bowser Castle 3 is a little bit of everything. A little bit of verticality, path choice making, some really tight turns, easily the Super Nintendo's brightest. A tier. What about the music? What in fact is that melody? The way that Mario just jumps on a rooftop and grabs a Mecha Koopa only to destroy Bowser's clown car really has the exaggerated swagger of an Italian plumber. I get goosebumps every time I hear it. I really like this rendition. I like the drums that the Super Nintendo version has. I think GBA ones are a good stand-in. As of now we're on Wave 4, but if Wave 5 and 6 come out and it has Bowser Castle Super Nintendo, I want to be interested to hear how they do with the music. A tier. Let's talk about Koopa Beach next. The Lord knows I have nothing to say about this. Koopa Beach 1 is just a simple circle. If this has been remade for Tour, I would love to know what they did with this. There's just nothing here. And Koopa Beach 2 added grass, I guess. They can both sit in D tier and have a nice chat. The music is at least a saving grace. It's nothing special, but an earworm. Very catchy. I'll put it in B. Now let's chat about Vanilla Lake. Vanilla Lake 1 is just a square, an icy square. Even the CPUs don't want to play this stage. F. At least Vanilla Lake 2 has some interesting jumps you can make to grab this iron box here. I like the fact that hopping is actually a very useful option in this stage, so I'll at least give it credit for that. C tier. The music just feels like they went onto Ice Music Generator, F tier. What's about the Chocolate Islands? Chocolate Island 1's biggest crime is just being boring as sin. D tier. And Chocolate Island 2 is just a pile of mud and then some useless jumps. I hope the person got fired for this. No, truly, I really hope they do. F. As for the music... It's better than its Mario Kart DS Contemporary, which I put in the F tier, simply because the Whistle Man at least keeps his job. I'll be generous enough and put it in D. Now we get on to the final track, Rainbow Road. A certified hood classic. As used to the controls as I am, even I have to slow down on some of these turns. That's just how harsh it is. Probably the hardest version of a Rainbow Road you can play in any Mario Kart. Like truly, if you've mastered this, you really are the king of Mario Kart. It probably went easy on us by removing the hazards on this one, seriously. This one's not for the faint of heart. And for the final track of the game you're most likely to play, it's definitely a worthy send-off. A tier. As for the music...
Hi, Ness. Wow, Eddie. Cool car.
Having quickly covered this, I can see why no one wants to talk about Super Mario Kart. It just really isn't that interesting. This is as close as you're going to get to a video about it, so I hope you enjoyed this. Now, back to the tier list proper. Wow, thank you, Past Misty. Very, very cool. So yeah, there you go, gamers. That is Mario Kart Super Circuit. Now, are you based? Are you cringe? Let's find out. Let's have a look at your tier list, shall we? Sunny Side. S tier again for Sky Garden based. Shy Guy Beach. Oh, my beloved. I can't believe you're down there. Bowser Castle 4 that low, though, Sunny Side. That's very odd. Very odd, I would say. Very odd. Again, another Ribbon Road in S. Another Ribbon Road in S. I think you guys need to explain this to me in the chat. I think you guys need to explain this to me. Brick Master. Cheep Cheep Island is the best track in the game, and I'll die on this hill. Do you know what, actually? Do you know what? Do you know what, Brick? I would like for you to convince the rest of the class why Cheep Cheep Island is the best track in the game. So I am calling a gamer alert. Brick Master, please report to the tier list court so you can explain to the rest of us why Mid Island is in fact the best track in the game. Good evening, Brickmaster. How are you doing?
I'm doing alright,
A pleasure to have a chat with you. The Cheep Cheep Island owner. Like, are you the owner of this island?
Bitch, I'm broke. I don't got that money.
When you see the Donkey Kong that's like looking lawnfully on the island, is that you for real, for real? Do you imagine that's you
I
on a
have
picture?
dreams. I'm on that boardwalk. I'm just looking out into that beautiful, beautiful sunset. Islands in the distance. It's heaven.
I need you to do the uphill task of explaining to the rest of us not only why this track is in the highest tier that you can give it, but why it's the best track in the game. Go for it.
Alright, so I'm gonna start with I'm shit at this game, okay? So, I'm shit at this game. So, I'm gonna start out with it's a wide track, okay? It's a wide track.
Okay.
There aren't a bunch of walls on it.
Mm-hmm.
I can just take my time and drive around it. That sounds boring, but if on like a long straightaway, okay,
Mm-hmm.
long straightaway. Just picture this, just a long straightaway, and there's a massive sunset.
Right.
It's beautiful.
Mm-hmm.
You can just like disconnect from your car a little bit, just take a nice view out. The Cheeps just running through the waves. It's beautiful.
Mm-hmm.
It isn't boring to me. And then once you master the game, you can also appreciate the beauty of the track, and you can have fun on those shortcuts because they're like really hard to pull off for like a beginner, but you can easily do them when you're somewhat familiar with the game.
You are right in that regard. But one thing I said, right, one thing that I really didn't rate Cheep Cheep Island for is that I thought the Lightning Cup had a good thing going for it. Luigi Circuit started off with the drifting being a real tough son of a bitch. Then Sky Garden introduced like the ability to just fall straight off the map if you're not driving well. And then Cheep Cheep Island kind of eases up the curve a bit. Do you think that's a fact? Do you think that's a fair factor for people to consider when they rate this track lowly?
I mean, it can be. I don't consider placement in the cup as part of my ranking, but I get why that would be a problem for some people. If it was in like the last track in the second cup, I think people would see this track in a very different light.
Fair. Well, you're not wrong, but like I think that's why a lot of people take umbrage with it. It just doesn't deserve its placement. So what you're saying is that if ideally in your universe you could go back in time and tell them to put in Flower Cup, is that something you would do so more people would appreciate it?
Yes, I would.
Cool. You haven't mentioned the Cheep Cheep like flying across.
He's pretty cool. I like him. He's there and he's epic. He's chilling. That's what I want to be. when I'm like out of my own house, I get my own house. I can be just on my own, just chilling. I want to be just like that Cheep Cheep. He is my inspiration.
You know what? I don't think you've convinced me personally that this is the best track in the game, but you have done probably the best job of anyone I probably could have pulled into this voice call, if I'm being honest, Brick.
I will say, I think the music works better in this track than it does Shy Guy Beach, and that's also one of the reasons why it's so high for me. It just kind of completes it, you know?
Not maybe the best track in the game, but you have swayed me somewhat, Brick. Is there a hot take you want to leave the chat with before you leave?
I do not like Broken Pier. I think it is not... I don't think it's a terrible track. I think Broken Pier is just not interesting for me.
Hot indeed. Hot indeed. A bit spicy. En fuego. En fuego, I want to say. Brick, it's been an absolute pleasure talking to you. And I hope you find that Cheep Cheep Island one day.
I will. Don't worry about it.
No problem, man. Have a good one. You can't follow him, can you guys? He was honest. And that's Mario Kart Super Circuit. Even having replayed this as nostalgic as I am for it, it's definitely less like wine and more like milk. I still didn't stop the game from having some stellar tracks and some wonderful music. It's just a shame that Nintendo can't seem to make them good in the Booster Course Pass, but let's hope they can represent the Game Boy Advance well in Mario Kart 9. For the love of God, please, please do that. Thank you ever so much for watching. As always, any agreements or disagreements, be sure to let me know in the comments down below. Leave a like while you're there, and subscribe for more tier lists. And until next time, there's your love.